Hello and welcome to my backyard. Today we're doing a lawn and garden review. So this is the DR Power 11.5 chipper shredder, and I've had it for 2 years now, so I thought it's about time we took a look at it. I've got a small pile of buckthorn, so I'll be giving you a demo of its chipping and shredding abilities. Then we'll take it inside and I'll show you how I sharpen the blade, and I'll give you my final thoughts. Stay tuned. This is a cold start. It's about 55 degrees outside, and I haven't run this thing in, say, 2 weeks. So this will be a full demonstration of how easily it starts. Throttle's about 25%, full choke, gas is on. Not bad. See, this Briggs engine is quite good. We now have around 7 or 8 minutes of me feeding branches into the machine. 3 minutes in, I do 3 larger branches, diameters from around 2.5 to 3.25 inches, just to give the machine a real workout to show you what I think it's capable of. In fact, the largest branch does stall the machine, so be sure to watch for that. And to give you some context for the amount of work the machine is doing, buckthorn has a Janka hardness level of 1040. That puts it on par with walnut. Check out wooddatabase.com for more information on that. Here I'm feeding some thin branches through the machine, and take note of how quickly they're sucked in. The outside of the cutting wheel moves at around 40 miles per hour, so that's how fast that sapling will be yanked out of your hands should you happen to be holding on to it. So I've learned to never grip things while using the shredder. It's the most dangerous part of the machine. Here I'm doing a branch that's around 2 3/4 inches in diameter, and you can now see that instead of just shoving in the branches, I have to feed it in slowly, letting the machine catch back up as it works through that load of chips. This is the approach recommended by the manufacturer, so it's not out of the ordinary. This branch is around 2.5 inches in diameter. This last big branch was around 3¼ inches in diameter, and I thought that I was feeding it pretty slowly, but still it stalled the machine. I have clogged up this thing before, and that obviously will stall the motor, but this was a new one where the motor just stalled because it had too much work to do. So like I said, there's nothing clogged in there, and I was able to restart the motor and finish the branch. Weird. I'll show you how the blade comes out so you can get a feel for that. It's pretty simple. Requires a couple 1/2-inch wrenches, a 3/16 Allen wrench, and probably a little pick to clear out all the gook from the bolts. So there's the access door. Blades here on the flywheel, but you do need to swing the screen down in order to access the blade. A little bit of a pain. Nice. There's all my sunflower bits. All right. Here's the blade. And so there's cone-headed screws back here, but you'll never be able to get your Allen wrench in there because they're full of plant material. So you probably want to get a little pick to clear out those screws. Lovely. All right. There she is. Let's go sharpen it. So here's the business end of this machine. The blade is pretty good stuff, considering that there's just this one single point of contact for cutting big piles of hard buckthorn. This thing lasts quite a long time. And it definitely is hardened steel. When I first got the machine, I thought that I'd be able to sharpen this thing much like a plane iron or a chisel. No way. So I was at my bench stones, you know, doing one of these things for 20 minutes. It was a pain in the butt. Wasn't happening. And so I've also tried to sharpen this on my CBN wheel bench grinder, and while it does work, it's a little bit unsafe and unwieldy because you're trying to hold this larger piece of steel against, well, in my case, the flat side of the wheel. I have the kinds of wheels with grit all the way down the sides, and it's just a little bit unsafe feeling holding it against there. So the best tool that I found for this task is one of these sanding stations. This is the kind that has a cheap 4x36 inch belt, and I've been using a 120 grit belt on this guy. The nice thing about sharpening this blade is that it doesn't have to be in a flat plane like you might require for a chisel or a plane iron. This blade operates in space. It's just slammed down on top of your logs. So if it's a little bit wibbly wobbly, wavy, it really doesn't matter. It just matters that it's sharp. So out of the box, it comes with a 45-degree bevel, and I've just left it there. So I'll quick demo how this works for me. So I start with the blade rocked back, and then I ease it over until the full bevel makes contact. Bam. That is really easy. Very easy to do, fairly safe. Gloves probably wouldn't be a bad idea for this job, and it makes it nice and sharp. So this tool is the best. I feel that even a cheapo Harbor Freight handheld belt sander flipped upside down, held in a vise, would work equally as well. I've got a few tips for you, and then we'll wrap up. My first one's around the shredder and to be careful around it. As you saw, it pulls in whole saplings at 40 miles an hour. If you have a real tall sapling in there and you've put it in kind of bent over to the side, it'll whip upright as it shoots in. And you better be wearing long sleeves while doing that kind of work, otherwise you'll get all scratched up. Safety, I'm not a big advocate of other people's safety. You are responsible for your own. But I, on the other hand, always wear long sleeves, gloves, and some large glasses when I run this thing. I find that lots of little nuggets and bits shoot out of the hopper while in use. It's funny, it especially seems to happen after I feed in some material and I'm bending over to pick up my next branch, then some bits of wood shoot me in the eye. So I always wear glasses with this thing. Another tip would be to always feed your logs towards the bottom of the chute. The blade comes from in a vertical direction. It comes from the top and slams down on top of the log. So there'll be a lot less banging and clanging if you present the log already touching the bottom of the chute to let it be easily chopped off. If if your log is floating and then the blade hits it, it then hits the log and slams it down onto the bottom of the chute. It just causes wear and tear on the machine. Let's see. There is a rubber flap over the discharge chute, which you can't see, but I took it off. The purpose is to prevent debris from flying a long distance away from the machine. It certainly does work well for that, but it also causes the pile of debris to build up very quickly right in front of the chute, and you spend far too much time, in my opinion, clearing away chips. So I just let them shoot out there. Sometimes if I'm feeling real picky, I'll put down a tarp, but most of the time I'm not. Let's talk about advertised capacity. That's a big one. So the manual for this machine says that it'll do a 4-inch log in the chipper. I think that might be true if you're doing a very soft material like pine. I chip exclusively buckthorn with this thing. Now, there's a woods here that I'm slowly eradicating from buckthorn, and the biggest log that I'll comfortably do is around 2.5 inches through here. Anything larger, I'll just buck it up and split it for firewood. You saw me do one that was 3.25 inches in diameter, and you saw how it killed the machine. It did it, but by golly, it was slow and probably just incurs a lot of wear and tear on the machine and the blade. So in my opinion, it's not worth doing logs that big. This is a prosumer grade machine. If you're doing that kind of work day in, day out, and you want to chip those logs, you're probably looking at a more expensive machine. Let's see, so review time. In general, I'm satisfied with this machine. It was $1,000. Golly, that's a lot of money to spend on a machine that turns waste wood into wood chips, you know? But it's convenient to have around. It's nice that it can handle whatever I throw at it. Anything bigger, I'll just go into firewood, but it works great for the small stuff and the medium-sized stuff that I throw at it. The Briggs motor is excellent. You saw it start on one pull from cold. It's definitely powerful enough for the machine. Durability seems good. I've used it for 2 summers in a row, or 2 seasons in a row, and nothing's broken. The blade needs sharpening about one out of every 3 brush piles I make. I realize that's not a comparable number, but nothing really will be comparable because we're all chipping in different kinds of woods. The buckthorn that I do is pretty hard. It goes through the blade real fast, and I've had local tree guys complain about it too. So it really wears on the blade. So in general, you know, I'll give this machine like a B+ or an A-. Basically, I'll give it a higher grade if it was able to easily chip anything up to the advertised capacity, and maybe if it were less expensive. But you know, it's a good machine. This one weighs 171 pounds, and when I was doing my comparison shopping, I was looking at like Harbor Freight sells a chipper in the $300 neighborhood, and it's something like 80 pounds. So there's just a lot more metal here. This thing actually has a flywheel, which helps tremendously when doing big logs. So I think that in general, if you spring for this machine, you'll get your money's worth. Well, thanks for watching. If I forgot anything, if you have any questions about this thing, please let me know, and I'll be happy to answer them. Thanks for watching.